Namaste, Radhe Radhe. Welcome to the first episode of the reaction series that we'll be having over the course of next few months. Myself, Nitin, this is Devi.
Namaste. In this series, we will be talking and reacting about the topics from Bhagavad Gita and Vedas, yoga, and Indian culture, Indian history, and much, much more.
Yeah, and today's topic that we have picked up is very relevant that you all can resonate with, especially the times that we are in all around the globe. We all know we are going through a pandemic right now. So today we have picked up a topic from Swami Mukundananda. We are going to watch a video on why do bad things happen to good people.
Shall we start the video?
Yes.
I prayed to God for strength, and He gave me difficulties to overcome so that I may become strong. I prayed to God for wisdom, and He gave me problems to solve to make me wise. I prayed to God for love, and He gave me the needy to help and develop the quality of love. My prayers were answered. When we talk about bad things and good things, we have to understand this is in reference to a time frame. What is a good thing? What is a bad thing? Something that appears to be good in the short run turns out to be bad in the long run, and vice versa. There is a story that we used to hear. There was a Chinese farmer. One day, a wild horse ran into his farm. The neighboring farmer said, "What a good thing has happened to you. You've got a free horse." He said, "Good thing, bad thing, this, God alone knows." A few days went by. The horse ran out of his farm back into the wild. The neighboring farmers came to commiserate. They said, "This is a very bad thing. You have lost your horse." He said, "Good thing, bad thing, who knows?" A few more days went by. The same wild horse brought 20 horses along with it, and they all came running into the field. Again, the neighbors came to congratulate the farmer. "You have got a lottery, you've got 20 free horses. This is the best thing that has happened to you." He said, "Best thing, worst thing, who knows?" A few more days went by. The farmer's son was riding one of the horses and fell off and fractured his leg. Again, in the evening, gathering people said, "This is a bad thing. If the horse had not come, this would not have happened." He said, "Well, bad thing, good thing, the future will tell." Now that country went into war with another country, and the king sent his soldiers to recruit all the youngsters in the countryside. All the youngsters, the children of the neighboring farmers, got recruited and got sent to the war front. This neighbor's son was left behind because he had fractured his leg. So what was a good thing? What was a bad thing? When the horse ran away from the field, it appeared to be a bad thing. But then he came back with 20 horses. When the farmer's son fell off the horse, it appeared to be a bad thing. But with a little more time perspective, it turned out to be a good thing.
Wow, time perspective, what is good, what is bad. So what are your initial impressions on it, Devi?
This is very, very great story, and it gave me very good perspective and knowledge, or wisdom, we would say, because I used to think that questions that related to this, why suffering is happening, why people suffer, or I'm sure during the COVID time now, people will think about this question, that why this is happening, and a lot of people had suffered quite lost. So what do you think of that?
Yeah, that's a tough one for sure. These are unprecedented times that we are in, and if we really look at it, there's a silver lining to this whole thing as well, because I have seen people who were postponing a lot of things in their life just because they were so hung up in their day-to-day life, their work and everything, and they were not able to really prioritize their health or what they really wanted to do. And because of the COVID, I think it gave them time to reflect on it. And I know so many of my friends who have really changed their lives. They have switched jobs, they have made health their priority, and they've been doing things they always wanted to do. There's always a silver lining for everything.
Wow.
So let me ask you a question in that case. What if you hit a jackpot? Would you think it would be a good thing or a bad thing?
Yes, that will appear to be good things, I wish. But with this knowledge, time will tell, I guess. So I have to wait and see what can turn around.
That means you've already hit a jackpot. You're saying you wait and see. But let me tell you something. If you look at the history of American Lotto, there was a documentary I was seeing. Most of the people, if not all, they have actually become bankrupt after a few years, and they claim that hitting that lottery was probably the worst thing that happened to their lives. They got into drugs, their relationships started falling off with their relatives and everybody, and they said it was like they were much better off before it happened. In fact, Sushil Kumar, who won the KBC, Kaun Banega Crorepati, 5 crore, he said his life was a complete mess after he won that, because he didn't know what to do with that. He was doing a lot of things before he lost focus after that. So whether it's a good thing or a bad thing is only God knows, like this video explained from Swamiji.
Wow, never thought of that. That's it's one thing to really think about. With that, I will ask also, what would you think? Is it a bad thing if you will lose your job?
Lose my job? Yes. That's a difficult one. The first impression that comes to my mind is losing a job is obviously not a good thing, right? It's somebody like pulling a rug underneath your feet. But then after watching this video, I can connect some dots with the Steve Jobs speech that he gave in his Stanford speech, where he said the best thing that happened to him was him getting fired from his own company. That actually gave him a reason, incentivized him to think further, dig deep. And actually because of that, he discovered, in Pixar, and rest is history, as we all know. So it may not be a bad thing. In fact, I know a friend of mine, because of this pandemic, he really reflected on what he was doing. He was never, passionate about the job. He was doing it, just because all of us do that way. So he opened a farm and started selling milk. Can you believe it? He opened a farm and started selling milk. And by the way, he's doing really great now. So it may not be a bad thing after all. Depends on how you take it. Might be an opportunity in disguise.
That was a good way to look at it. It is like everything happens for a reason, right?
Everything happens for a reason. When you said that, it actually reminds me of a story of Akbar and Birbal. So Birbal always used to say everything happens for a good reason. And one of the days, Akbar actually cut his finger while, playing with his sword. And then Birbal said everything happens for a good reason. And Akbar was distraught. He said, okay, I've cut my finger and you're saying the same. So what he tells is, take Birbal to the jail. So he was put behind the bars. And guess what happens? Next day, Akbar, he goes out on hunting, and he was captured by some tribals. And those tribals were trying to put him for sacrifice, the ritual that they had. And when they discovered he has a cut finger, they had to let go of him. And that's when Akbar realized, what happened yesterday, even though I cut my finger, which was a bad thing, but actually the result of it is good, because now I am spared my life.
So what about Bieber that got sent to jail? Is that a bad thing for him?
That's a good question. So Birbal, even though he was behind the jail, let's look at the scenario. If he was not behind the jail, he would have accompanied Akbar. And if he would have accompanied Akbar, he would have been caught by the tribals as well. And he didn't have a cut finger. So you know where he would have been.
Sacrifice.
So it was a good thing for Birbal as well.
That's wonderful. So it's like this intro, what Swami Mukundananda talk about, the prayer. I pray to God for strength. He give me difficulty to solve. And I pray to God for wisdom. He give me problem to solve and realize the wisdom. So it's like that prayer. It really resonates with me that, you know, you want something, but you actually get different things, but your prayers are answered. So that is like that. God knows better than what we actually needs, what we actually want. That's
beautiful thought, Devi. Yeah, I think my takeaway from it was that we have to approach things with faith, hope, and acceptance, and things more often than not, they do fall in place. So
now one question is how sometimes when things actually hit you like this, it's hard to really remember and implement this. So how do we get the gap of having this knowledge, but when actually happen, will we apply it? You know, how could be the best way to, you know, in yoga practice also, how do we bring that to day-to-day life to apply and implement?
Yeah, so yeah, that's a good one actually. Easier said than done for sure. So it is said that the theory and the knowledge is one part of it. The implementation, there's a big divide between. So I think by listening to more of such videos, contemplating and revising this knowledge, that will help us, you know, draw on the reservoir of knowledge when we truly need it. And it is said that we don't dig a well when the house is on fire. So the times when things are going fine, I think we need to watch more of it, learn from it, and imbibe it in our lives. That's how I see that.
Thank you for watching. We will love to hear your reaction as well. So comment below what do you think about these topics.
Also, we would like to hear from you. What are the other topics you would like to hear from us? And we'll bring you more of it. Don't forget to subscribe to Radha Krishna Temple of Dallas. And we'll see you. Bye for now.